All right. Hey, Dimitri back on with us again. We're going to talk all about Tree Chat. He was just telling me about his time at the growing up in the Soviet Union, and then before he moved to America. So pretty fascinating stuff, man. Dimitri, good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you, Gavin. Thanks for having me again.
Before we get into the Bitcoin stuff and the Tree Chat, I want to hear more about your kind of your reflection there. You said you grew up in the Soviet Union and then you moved over here when you were 8 years old, and it was like at that time, right when the Soviet Union collapsed.
Yeah.
So what do you remember about that?
I mean, not too much because I was pretty young, so it's hard to even like most of my life, the vast majority of my life has been here. I do remember like living in these big apartment complexes in Moscow. Then you would have these like kind of the typical Soviet Union buildings, these big concrete apartment blocks. And then you would have in the center, you would have like four buildings on like the sides of a square, and in the center there would be a courtyard, and all the kids from all the apartment buildings would like meet in the center of this courtyard and play games and this kind of thing. So I remember that. I remember going to first grade. I went to first grade in Soviet Union. Um, yeah, not too much. I mean, actually, and one interesting thing is that my grandparents, on my mom's side, had a summer house in Siberia, which is kind of like a little bit paradoxical, but they do have summers in some parts of it. So those are fond memories of going to basically like they had a farm and we grew strawberries and spent a lot of time outdoors and all this kind of stuff. Lots of animals. You get like milk deliveries in the morning, like fresh raw milk. It's pretty cool.
So, is your perspective different? Like because of that, do you feel like did your parents raise you differently, like than maybe like other kids your age that grew up here in America?
Definitely, there's some differences. I mean, you have to think about what it would take to abandon your entire life at the age, like my parents at the age of, I don't remember exactly, but it's like probably like 33, 34, and just like have to restart your entire life in a new country. And they left because they felt like they had to leave because they didn't have the opportunity there that they could have and that they could provide for their kids here. So it was basically like a recognition that a reset was needed and that there was better opportunity in America. And then you had to, my parents started all over. They had to educate themselves in new employment opportunities and new careers. Had to They had no savings, had to start from zero and build back up. And at the same time, the stress of like having to provide for your family, for your kids. So that all of that, I mean, we had some family over here already who had made the move, so we had a support network to help us with that. But that's a huge stressful, traumatic event for both the parents and then for the kids. It's like you have a reset, your friend group, you don't speak the language. So you come, so that definitely has an impact. And then I think that that's kind of the immigrant like mindset there is like the entrepreneurial spirit, entrepreneurial mindset, can't rely on anyone, have to kind of build back up by yourself. I think that all of those things are kind of positives and the attitude that, there's only you have to, build back up and make it happen. And seeing my parents do that obviously has an impact. And so, yeah, there's definitely a lot of positives. And then speaking a separate language, I think is very positive. Like being bilingual, I think, there's lots of research about that's beneficial. And so, yeah, all those kinds of things. I think it's a pretty typical immigrant story. Uh, you know, having to restart, rebuild, and fighting and working your way to another life.
So so it sounds like it was just from what you remember, it was just really uh, a bad situation. There was no opportunity because of the Soviet Union, at least the culture that they had, and that your parents just had to come out here to basically survive. Is that?
Yeah, I think
thrive basically.
yeah, to thrive. I think thrive. I think I think they would have survived there, but it just would have been. I mean, think about what happened when the Soviet Union collapsed. Like, things went really bad there for probably a decade plus. Tons of crime. Economy was horrible. Like lots of challenges. Very unpredictable. So I think it was as hard as it was to restart your life in a brand new place, I think for many people, that collapse, was catastrophic. And so, yeah, it was, I think I'm grateful for, that risk that they took and for providing me a life here. And I very much identify with, I would say I've been indoctrinated into American principles like free speech, um, you know, the Constitution, human freedom, um, these kinds of ideas that were very looked up to all around the world, I think, and then having gone through the school system here. And this was like in the 90s, so this was like before we kind of got a lot of the um, kind of the
Woke.
yeah, the woke pushback on that. So I'm much more in the, traditional American. Um, I very much appreciate and admire and want to preserve and practice the American principles that those values actually inform a lot of my work with Tree Chat. And so, yeah, I want to. I'm kind of glad that I went through that American, basically traditional American classical liberal indoctrination in a good way.
Yeah. So when you talk about American principles, are you talking about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights? Are you
Yeah,
talking about our way
yeah,
of life,
uh,
Declaration of Independence?
yeah. So like basically the idea that we have rights that are outside of the government, um, and I think that those rights and freedom of speech, Second Amendment, I think those things make for a better society, for a better civilization. They're worth preserving. I mean, just the idea of freedom of speech, I think, is like maybe the greatest, uh, political philosophical achievement. Like just the idea that you have, as a human being, the right to say what you believe without the government being able to shut you down. I think that's a very powerful idea. And it's only at the moment practiced in the United States imperfectly, but it's the kind of the highest manifestation of that idea. And I think it's absolutely worth preserving. I'm completely against whatever kind of efforts to curtail that. And I think that that's a huge mistake. I think it would be like a huge step back for humanity. So,
Yeah. Well, when Madison was, and Jefferson was the one that tasked Madison to put the Bill of Rights together. So when Madison was coming up with the Bill of Rights, and it was the second. Yeah, people always remember the Second Amendment. Yeah, the Second Amendment is great, but they made the First Amendment there because without the speech, you know, you don't. The Second Amendment is there to protect the speech and
right.
the practice of freedom of religion too.
Yes.
So that's why it's like the very most first and sacred, most important, principle of all. Because
Right.
just being able to openly talk and petition the government for your grievances, it's it sounds like that's where you're going with Tree. I mean, that sounds like that's what you're doing with Tree Chat. That's like what's really drawn me to it right now.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah, our content policy is all legal speech and no porn. That's basically it. All legal speech, no porn. So that's the moderation policy, and I think that that's the best way to air out ideas, to debate, to to have disagreements, to be able to introduce the reasons why you believe something, why you believe that another thing is wrong. And I think just as a like one of the kind of ideas here is how do you coordinate humanity effectively? And that's part of my interest in Bitcoin as well, is like money is a coordination mechanism for humanity. And so like and the free speech is part of that, right? Because you have to be money is valuing, and then speech is like what you value is like how. So you have speech to say like this is what I believe, and then you can have and this is what I want to do, and you can have money to kind of like put a price on that. And so that then you get into the idea of like mimetic markets, for example. We can talk about that a little bit more, but basically, like both free speech and money are ways of coordinating humanity effectively. And we live in a complex system. So like we don't know the answer all the time. We have a very limited local perspective on what's happening, and we're trying to like get all of these global signals about like a vast world, and we're trying to integrate that. And if you start putting arbitrary limits on things, well, you're limiting your ability to essentially get a clearer picture of the world. And in a complex system where like it's already very difficult to predict the future, to figure out what's going on, like you need all the help you can get to kind of model the world effectively. And so like that's kind of where I'm coming from. I want to build tools to be able to do that. And so free speech is a huge part of that. And then having money flowing through Tree Chat is another way of that we can help do that by essentially we can price ideas. That's kind of like the very high level uh, um, principle here is like we can as we're talking, as we're sharing ideas, we can use Bitcoin to rank those ideas monetarily, and a meme market emerges, an idea market that where we can use that market to coordinate our attention to what should I be reading, what should I be looking at, what should I be listening to, and we can use the market to help do that. And I think that's where Bitcoin is very powerful because to be able to price ideas like you have to be able to be transferred tiny, tiny amounts of money. Like, just our speech, our words, just initially, like no one knows. Maybe it's worth like 1,000th of a cent or 1/10 of a cent, but that's still something, right? Because like if these words are 1/10 of a cent, but this idea is 50 cents, well, now you have a ranking of ideas. But to be able to like assign that value, you need a very, very low fee monetary ledger, and that's what Bitcoin provides us.
Hmm. All right. So what's some of the like with Tree Chat? I've seen like some of the latest things, people promoting different ideas, and I mean, give me like I don't know, like a what's something that really you think is like exciting that people are doing right now? Was it like ranking or uh, I saw Scott was doing something, and I'm trying to really understand it better. It's not that's I know it's simple for you, but it's not so simple for some boomer people, So it's like, we're trying to like really see
Right.
the value, right? To the simplicity of it.
Yeah, well, I think just to start with this, like the simplicity of it, you like everything I just said is like, and the money running through the system, and that's an emergent property, like of the community just writing and chatting with each other. So, like at its core, to start, you don't need to understand any of what I just said. You just basically go and you post. And I know I've seen you doing that a little bit on Tree Chat. I've seen your posts there. So that's kind of like to start, that's all it is like it's just like any other social network. You go and you post and that's it. But then because the money is running through it, instead of getting likes or retweets, you actually get small amounts of Bitcoin. So I think that's very exciting is that like you can be posting and you can be earning small amounts of Bitcoin and you're posting anyways on these other social networks. And for the most part, you don't get anything for it. You're just out there spreading your message, speaking your voice, and here you can be doing that, but then also earning some Bitcoin from the community. And for the most part, it's not going to be much. It's going to be a little bit, and it's going to be sometimes it's most of the time it's like sub-cent rewards, but over time that accrues, and also it lets you those rewards then let you rank your own content in comparison with other people's content. So there's a hierarchy of content that develops, and that's what I mean by an emergent meme market. So I guess to answer your question, to summarize, is like the exciting thing is you get to write on chain, and then you get to earn your rewards for the your ideas, for the message that you're spreading, for the content that you're sharing.
So if I write a blog post on there, does it post on chain where I could read it somewhere like
Yeah,
on
so if you go right now, if you go to any of the messages in the public stream, there's a public and a private mode. So the private mode is kind of like a Web2 style, almost like a diary or note taking or PKM app. But in public, that's the social network part of it, where everyone sees what you're writing, and every message in the public stream essentially has a little icon in the I think it's the top right, and then it's a little block icon. And if you click that, it actually takes you to the block explorer. And then so you can see the transaction that contains that content. If you use the there's if you that takes you to what's on chain, and there's a tree
do,
chat BMap viewer that decodes the data for you.
do you
And
mind sharing is now about time to share your screen and kind of
yeah,
walk us through that?
sure.
That'd be awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah, do you see my screen?
Yep. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. I see
So let me
homepage.
just I'll just refresh just so we clean up. Yeah, so like for example, you can see, so this is a post in the public stream. So this is a
Yep.
public stream. And then you can see it's just got a bunch of posts in it. And then each message has, you can see this little block icon.
Hmm.
At the moment, it's unconfirmed, so it's probably working through the miners. But if I click on that, and it just takes you to what's on chain and into that transaction. Oh, so it looks like it is confirmed. 60 confirmations. I think the UI just didn't update yet. But basically, yeah. So now you can see that this is the transaction that contains that post, and if I go to like it's got a bunch of data about the transaction, but if I go to the tree chat BMap viewer, that decodes the actual data in the transaction. So if I click that, you can see that this is what's written on the on chain. So this is content, and then flux and elephant made of spaghetti, and we can talk about what that means. But this is the content, and then it has a bunch of metadata about the post, like the tree chat message ID, the thread ID, and the username who wrote that, which happens to be my co-founder Arg0. Yeah, so you can see, so every post is you can actually go and look at it on chain. Uh,
So that post right there is now on the blockchain. And
exactly, yeah. So this post, you can see Flux and Elephant made of spaghetti, and you can see I'm looking at what's on chain, which is the blockchain viewer, and the data is coded when it's written on the blockchain. So like so that's why you can click on this tree chat BMap viewer tab in what's on chain, and it will show you the data decoded so you can read it, so it's easier to.
so, you know, can I want to just kind of give an example? Like back in the very like one of the early blocks, Satoshi, he wrote in there about how there was news about the banks or something like that. It was like the banking collapse in 2008, and he wrote something on the chain. Is
Yeah.
that similar to this?
Yeah, it is it's similar. I don't think they're not coded in the exact same way, but it is, yeah, it is just data. It's data written in the Opera on chain. I actually don't know exactly how he wrote that, but the point is that it's data. That data is written on chain.
That data is written on chain permanently.
Yeah.
Nobody
So
can delete that.
there is some nuance there because miners can prune data, and then there's some debate about exactly when they can do that. So if they prune the data, you still have like a hash of the data, so you can prove that something this was written on it, but it might not have the native data. But there is now like basically there's going to be like archiving nodes that do have this, and it might be you might be required to pay a little bit of an extra archiving fee. So, but yes, at least in the near term, this is going to be in full the full data. And then as we go in the future, there's probably going to be an archiving market that keeps this data on chain. Um,
Hmm. So can you go back to the tree chat
Yep.
homepage? Okay, so we got this stream here. Now, if you post something there,
Mhm.
um, and then what is hot? Like hot, top, stuff like that. Can you click on
Yeah.
that?
So,
Hot.
so hot is just basically it's kind of like the way Reddit works. It's kind of like what's getting. You can see this got upvalued. You can see all of these people actually sent money. So well, let's just step back a little bit. So like I can actually on any of these posts, you can see there's this a 10,000 Satoshi button. And so like I can click this and you can see as I'm clicking it on the left, the amount is going up. So 381, I'll click it again. It's gonna 441. So basically like I'm sending this post or really the author of this post, I'm sending him 10,000 Satoshis at a time, which is like a very small let's see how much it is. It's about 3,000th of a cent. You see? And
Yeah.
I can increase the amount here, but right now my default up value is 3,000th of a cent. Sorry, it's not 3,000th of a cent. It's 3,000th of a dollar. So it's 3/10 of a cent. So it's a little more than that. So it's 3/10 of a cent. So I'm sending 3/10 of a cent every time I like press this button. And um and you can see here I see that, Rosa, Pixel, Sikevi, and Stob, besides me on MetaMeta. So like, four, five people rewarded this content. So now it has 541,000 Satoshis. And so yeah, so this content accrued this up value, and Arc Zero now earned this money for making this post. And that's the idea. And then so now when I go to hot, this just shows me all of the posts that are actually earning money. It's a combination. It's the recent posts, so sorted by recency and up value. So it's the recent posts that are getting activity that are getting up valued. So you can see here someone made using the suno command, someone made a song and they earned 10,000 Satoshis. And then, Rosa made a movie and that earns 750 Satoshis. So it's basically like everything that's been earning Satoshis. That's what the hot stream is. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Yeah. What about top?
So top is basically like a global ordering. So it's like what is the highest earning
So that
post?
post there is the highest earning.
Yeah,
So
so and this was like so this has whoops. So you can see this has 4 Bitcoin. So 4 Bitcoin
wow.
and 10,000 Satoshi.
Wow.
So this was a post by Craig, who basically he created these tree chat rings, an NFT, it's a 3D tree chat ring, NFT, and he basically like ran a market in this thread. Uh, so if we click into the thread, you can see like all of these people are basically essentially buying this NFT, and so this was what.
So a market, what do you mean?
So it basically it's just an informal market in this thread. So it's just a market through conversation. So basically, people are the way that it worked was let me see. Yeah, so the way that it worked is people would upvalue this post. So let's say like I forget what the price was, but I think it was like yeah, it was 4 million sats. You see, so simply upvalue 4 million sats to buy your ring. And so he made this NFT, and then people would upvalue this post with 4 million satoshis, and uh, then they posted their ordinals address, I believe this was, and then he would just send them this NFT on chain. So it was basically like an informal like chat-based market. People are just negotiating and trading in this thread, which is pretty cool. And that's another kind of thing that we're actually building. Like we're building tools to be able to do this. So, for example, like right now we just released the ability to mint any image. So, for example, like if you're talking and you paste an image into the thread, or you use the AI capabilities, which we can talk about, the image generation capabilities, to make
Yeah.
an image. Then you can mint that image as a one sat ordinals NFT, and then sell that maybe in the same way to start. But then we'll have a more like traditional market application to be able to trade it. But the idea is like like everything is on chain, so you can create an image, mint it as an NFT, and then send it to someone and have them send you money to buy it, right? All in tree chat. So it's
So
essentially you,
I follow 369 BSV on X, and he's been talking about something like that, and I'm trying to understand how it works, and he posted on here, and it was I did, yeah. So can you? Sounds like he really understands it, and he's doing it.
yes, he
369.
he did something a little bit. I forget exactly. Yeah, if I can. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find uh, that. Let's see.
369 BSV. Oh, raffle. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually did a raffle.
A raffle. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, maybe it's this thing. Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is a little bit different. This is another cool thing. Like all of these things, you can do because you have money running through the system, right? So now all of a sudden, like I like to think about it as turning your community into an economy. So I just explained to you the kind of the market, the trading part of it. I'm just going to clean these up. But so so there we just talked about the minting NFTs and trading those right in tree chat, and because you have money flowing through the system, you can do everything without having to like you know have credit card processing or anything like that. You just literally send money to the user, and then they send you the NFT back. So this is another example of the cool things that you can do when you have money as a primitive in the social network. And basically, what he's doing is he ran a raffle. So essentially, he said to be able to enter the raffle, it's essentially he's running a lottery. To be able to enter, you send money to the post. So you can see like all of these people sent money to this message, just like I was doing, like just like I'm doing right now. I just send 10,000 Satoshis to this message. I just click this button right here. It's kind of like a like, but it's a like with money, or an upvote, but it's an upvote with money. I call it up value. And so I just upvalued this message. And so what he did was everyone who upvalued the message, you can see all these different people upvalued the message. They then get entered into this raffle, into this lottery in proportion to the amount that they sent. So, if someone sent like 1,000 Satoshis, and then another person sent 9,000 Satoshis, then, one has a 9 out of 10 chance of winning and one has a 1 out of 10 chance of winning. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the amount that you sent is the amount of chance that you have to win the raffle. And then so you see all of these people like, well, they're just having a conversation about this raffle. But then we let them then when at a certain point in time, so June 5th, so let's see, this was May 18th, but then on June 5th, maybe like 3 weeks later, he just picks a winner. So we have right for the owner of the thread, we have a button right here. I'm not the owner, so I can't show you, but he has a button that basically lets you put this raffle component in, and then you press play, and then this was it basically creates like a lottery wheel, and then Terra Node won. So this is just a replay. This already happened, you see? And so Terra Node had a 37% chance of winning because he upvalued, 37% of the amount of the Bitcoin. And so he ended up winning, and then 369 BSV sent him the money for winning this raffle. And this is like a very informal, just again, just because the money is already in the system, the audience is in tree chat, they can just turn any thread, any conversation into this kind of raffle. And so this is the idea. We're like experimenting in tree chat with, providing Bitcoin primitives to play with. It's basically like, how can we play with money? What are the use cases that people will find compelling when you have Bitcoin running through the social network? And so, I mentioned one of those basically, being able to upvalue, reward creators with money, being able to do the raffle, being able to mint NFTs and trade them. And we have other ideas. Maybe you want to have like an escrow, like what if I could like launch just an escrow account right in my chat, and like pool money for some collaborative endeavor or whatever it is. So like what are the kinds of things that we can do with when it's so cheap to transact and we can have tiny amounts of money
So
swing.
let's say we wanted to raise money to do a lawsuit or something, or do
Exactly.
a case,
Exactly.
say, hey, let's
100%.
get
Yeah.
yeah.
Like what if I could say this isn't a feature yet, but this is just like what if I could say like, escrow, and then people can just like that creates like an escrow account that people can send money to right now. Like
And then that money would then be on chain, so it would be auditable. I guess we could say, okay,
yeah,
look, who
exactly.
sent what?
Yeah,
What's
it's like yeah, exactly. So it's all on chain, it's auditable, you know who sent what. So maybe you get like some kind of controlling share based on your contribution and decision making. So these are the kinds of things we're thinking of for the future, um, to be able to do.
I see. And okay, it could be done with like you could add smart contracts in it potentially. So if you're doing an escrow, could it? But I mean, in theory, it could be done with real estate. You could do a real estate transaction even
100%. You might think like maybe there's like a contract uh
a contract.
a
Yeah.
contract like action or button that basically like it essentially creates a legal agreement or something like right in the chat, and then you have the money in escrow that's attached to that legal agreement, and it's all public and it's all on chain. Like there's no like maybe doing like contract and then it like adds your digital signature to something. So again, it's like a very powerful coordination mechanism on chain, auditable, in public, very low friction because it's the whole idea is having it in the social network in the chat. And so like what are the kinds of kind of capabilities that you can open up for people when it's so easy to do and when it's so easy to coordinate, when it's so easy to trade money. That's kind of the things that we're thinking about. So again, it's all about like human coordination, like having money in the system and making it easy to work with money and to make agreements. That's one part of it. And then sharing knowledge and having the best information, that's another important part of it. It all comes together in a one on one platform. And the idea is like, how can we, like existing social networks, it's all ad driven, it's all engagement bait. The social network doesn't work for the user, they work for the platforms that advertise, and they basically harvest people's attention. And so because we don't have any ads, we're focused on we make money by the amount of basically Bitcoin that flows through the system. And so, the more people enjoy the content, the more up value they send, and then therefore the more money we make. So all of our incentives are aligned, and because our customer is really the user, we can actually build tools to empower the user. And so then we can talk about like all of the AI powers that we have, which
Can you
again,
can you take me to some of the AI powers?
yeah, so like we have a whole so first of all, we have two things. We have a this is a large language model, this little chatbot right here. And I can choose from if I just click the drop down, I can choose from um, many different LLM models, large language models from all these different providers. So for example, maybe I want to do Claude Sonnet 4, and then I say like
Hmm, that's in public.
yeah. Um, Yeah, and I could do this in private as well. Like if I wanted to, I could change it to right now I'm in public, but I could change it publish to private, and then I could do use all of these tools in private, so it doesn't have to. They're all available in private as well, which is very useful. And then so like, and you can see now it starts working, and then eventually this actually goes out to do like it does research. It actually goes out to the web and summarizes internally a bunch of research. And then so that's what so that will come back in a second. And so I can choose like various different models to do this with. I'm not stuck with one provider. And the other thing is at the moment this is free. So let me just close this out. So you can see now this Claude Sonnet 4 is coming back with a bunch of research. And so it's saying that like unlimited block size, allowing for massive scalability, can handle 5,000 plus transactions per second. So it's basically went out to the web and is summarizing this research for me now. And you can do this with any topic. And then the nice thing about Tree Chat is like any message that you write or that is in the system, you can turn that into its own thread. So like let's say I was like, oh, scalability, performance, blah blah blah. I'm interested in this. I can click on this, and that creates its own separate thread around using this message as a title, which is what you see on the right here. And now it can be like, oh, this is interesting. Uh, come back to this later, whatever. And I basically started a new thread with this as the title. If that makes sense. And
Yeah.
that's why it's called tree chat because you can have this hierarchical conversation. Um, so that's the LLM. And so anytime like again, like let's say you're having a debate or you have some question in a conversation, you can go ahead and just like summon this large language model to help you or to provide insight. So I'm gonna open up another panel here. So that was the LLM here, and this is like basically like the magic button, and essentially is all different kinds of um, creative tools. So, for example, we have different models for creating images. So, for example, like I just chose the Flux model, which I like. So, what's an image we can do? So maybe like Bitcoin taking over the world. Um, and so now it will generate this image. And I use this just as a fun way to like illustrate my posts and just play around and you can see I have this mint button, and if I wanted to, I could mint this as an NFT, and then that would turn this into a one sat ordinal. Uh, it's essentially NFT that I could then send around, trade, sell, if I so desired. And so I have other models here too. I have video models. I can make a song. So maybe let's
You could
do.
sell that NFT on there if you mint it.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, you can go to platforms like, One Sat Ordinals as a marketplace. So you can trade NFTs there. Another platform is Zoid. You can trade NFT, you can sell and auction NFTs there. Uh, you can basically like list an auction of your One Sat Ordinal NFT or image or whatever you're selling. People sell songs, people sell videos. And by the way, like having videos on chain as an NFT is something you can only do on Bitcoin SV.
So
So
how would you do a video on chain, and what's the difference between like posting a YouTube video here versus what you're doing?
so you like anytime, I think right now our limit is 5 MB. So anytime I generate a video or that's um, below 5 MB, it will be written on chain. Like the video data is actually written on chain. By the way, just like this image data is written on chain. So any data below 5 MB at the moment, and we're slowly raising the limits on that, but at the moment it's 5 MB, will be written on chain. You can see it has the same transaction little block. So this lives on the blockchain explorer. So and but the I think the next step we haven't built this yet, but in on the roadmap is like you can take your video and turn it into a one sat ordinal NFT, and then it basically gets inscribed on a Satoshi, and it's essentially um, you can trade that artifact as an NFT, and it's also written on chain. Uh, so you don't have to, like on Ethereum, it's usually like a pointer to some other system that actually stores the data, and the actual thing you're selling is not on chain. Whereas on Bitcoin SV, it's so cheap to write data, then we can actually write the whole NFT on chain, and it's there for you, and you can trade it.
Has this been done on any other platforms before or any other blockchains? I
I don't
mean,
think so. Not that I'm aware of. So I don't. Especially, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think video is. I don't know about image. Well, the thing is, I think like very pixelated NFTs, like very pixelated images. That's why you actually see these like on other platforms. If you look at the NFTs that they're trading, they're these like bit images. They're like very pixelated images because they can't store all of the image data. But we can literally very soon and we'll be able to turn videos into one sat ordinals and trade the artifact on chain. No other services required to store anything. So we're working towards that now, and we can already do it with. Oh, did I just get?
I just stopped sharing.
Okay, we can already do that with images and songs. Um, by the way, let me.
You want to share something else?
Yeah, I just want to show you the. This might take a little. It might take like a minute, so maybe you
No
can get.
problem. Yeah.
Um, I just want to show you the video generation. So like here, I'll do a Suno Bitcoin. So Suno is the audio model. So let's say like um, a high energy catchy Bitcoin rock.
It's going to do a video.
No, this is gonna do a song, and then let's do a video. So I'm just typing out the commands because I know them, but if like you can see it's the same stuff here. So like if I want to do a video, you can see Google Veo 3. Um,
Oh, I see. You pay 7.99 cents.
yeah, so like some of these, so depending like this is like $1 and this is a more expensive model. So and the thing is I pay this out of my Bitcoin wallet that's integrated into TreeChat. So like I don't have any I have all of these models. Like
So
look,
those models are, if I were to try, okay, yeah. So you're saying that that model is available here, and if I were to go and try to use it directly, they would charge me for it, I presume.
yes. So
Yeah.
well, you're charged per request. So if you like, I think the Veo 3 is like 200 to $250 per month. If
Wow.
so you have to sign up for a subscription to use them on other services, and you can only use that model. But we have all of these different models. You don't have to choose. You use them only um, Bitcoin Dragon taking over wealth. So you can see Google Veo costs 7.99. It tells me the Satoshi price. And so now this will take a few minutes, so we can continue the conversation, but we can come back to this later and play them. So, but the point is that you have these very powerful creative tools built right into the system. So not only can you be like talking, sharing information, doing all of the, building community, but you have all of these very powerful AI tools that essentially let you be very creative. And then as you like are talking and illustrating and making soundtracks for your conversations, maybe something comes out that you're like you love it, and it's very cool, and you can just go ahead and like mint that right in line, and now you have an NFT that's linked back to your conversation that you can trade, that you might or you can keep, or you can sell. So like it's essentially you have again it's an emergent market, and you start the idea is you start like generating these really cool artifacts right from your conversations, right from your chat, right from your community, right from your kind of social network experience. And it's just a better, in my opinion, it's like a more friendly, a more positive experience. It's like you're creating together, you're playing together. Um, well, I'm not sure why. So this model, something went wrong with this request, but let me try again. Actually, I'll just show you the kinds of things, just so we're not waiting. So let's see what let's actually go to.
This one right here.
Yeah, I wanted to show you one of my yeah, okay, we can do.
BSV, direct, lightning fast.
So Rosa
No
made this.
limits, just us.
So this was like this. She just wrote this, and this was the video that was generated. Let me actually see. No. Oh, there you
That was
go.
a fake video that someone
Yeah,
made.
yeah. This is an AI generated video.
Wow. Is that made by
Oh, here we go. Here we
Google?
go. So this is that was made by the Google model, which also incorporates audio. So this is like a little tree chat promo that I made.
We wield Bitcoin and AI powers. Join us.
Hmm. That's a
So
great
again,
idea. Some marketing videos.
yeah, just like this is just something I made. So people make all kinds of different stuff. Um, let me see. This is the song that I'm not sure if you can actually hear that.
No,
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, I'll tag you on it. You can listen to it.
thanks.
But yeah, it's Zoom blocks it out. Anyways, those are just some quick demos for like the kinds of AI capabilities that are integrated into the system. And again, and it's all you get the advantage is you get all of these different models you can play with. You
Dude,
pay per request. You don't have to, there's no subscriptions. You don't have to sign up to, there's probably like 40 different service providers there. You would
I
have to
mean,
get a subscription
it seems
to
like a really good place for, I mean, like I have a nephew, he's like, I don't know, 9, 10 years old. I mean, and
yeah.
maybe a little older. Like somebody like that would love to get started on something like this,
Yeah.
man. I
Totally.
mean,
My daughter is a huge fan of like she comes over and we'll make like little songs together and stuff like that. She loves it. And little like she makes like images and videos. Yeah, I mean kids get it right away. It's so interesting.
yeah, they get it right away. I mean, I'm like, yeah, I could totally see how I would get, you could get it right away as a kid. This is like a really, dude, so what's it take? What's it going to take for this to really get out there? What's missing right now? Or what, I don't know. What's your thoughts on really marketing and expanding this?
Um, so right now, I think that we are working to basically saturate the Bitcoin SV market. That's kind of like our initial focus, and because it's just, you know, um, that community already has Bitcoin and they can come in and start using all of the tools, they can start rewarding each other. So like if you are a Bitcoin SV fan, then you need to be on this platform. Like this is something very concrete that you can do to grow the economy, to grow our user base and the community, and help us get the word out there. And we have a very like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen some of the comments on X and stuff like that. People are out there saying that they enjoy the platform, and so I
They
think
love it.
yeah, I think that's kind of the step that we're on now. And then I think the next step is basically to like, you know, to conquer all the other crypto communities and basically like everyone who's an NFT fan, and like we just go and say like, hey, look, we're minting videos on chain and you can trade them right in the chat. Like, I think that's going to be kind of the next step. And so we're going to work our way into the other crypto communities. and then basically essentially like the normies is probably going to be like being able to use the AI tools and being able to have organized conversation and even use it in private to organize their thinking and all of this stuff. Like there's a lot of ideas from the PKM, which is the personal knowledge management scene. um we it's a like that's why the hierarchical, that's why it's called tree chat. It was the hierarchical nature of the conversation. It's like more organized. You can organize in public or in private. You can find things. So I think that that's kind of the current strategy, is to like slowly work our way, like
Mhm.
saturate BSV, then break it into the other crypto communities. I don't think it's gonna, be like a one-time thing. It's just gonna take a lot of work and getting the word out there and marketing and building um, and then like I think that there's a lot of people now in the like a lot of the other crypto influencers who basically like see the shortcomings of Bitcoin, the shortcomings of the speculative nature of all of these like other coins, and we're actually like, to us the price almost doesn't matter as a way of generating attention. It's very useful when the price goes up, but like everything I just showed you
Yeah.
that had nothing to do.
It's not priced in fiat basically at all. So it's just
Yeah, like
sats.
yeah, it's just Sats. I'm like everything I just did required Bitcoin and was and
Yeah. Well,
didn't
I
have
thought that
to.
was cool that there was no fiat at all price. You weren't converting fiat in there. So
Yeah, we do show the fiat price for the AI generations because that's how we are
okay.
charged.
Sure.
So we have to do that. But like um yeah, but as far as like upvaluing and all of that stuff, that's all in Satoshis.
What
Uh,
about apps, Dimitri? Are they on Android or Apple?
so we do have beta apps on both mobile and both Android and Apple. So you need test flight. For Android, you don't need anything. You can just go to treechat.com/Android or treechat.com/iOS. Those are in beta right now. They'll be in the so you can install them in beta mode. So you need test flight if you have an Apple device, which is pretty easy to get. And then, but soon we're working on getting into the stores, so you don't need anything. You can just download right from the store. There is a mobile app. It is good. You can get notifications when someone messages you, and it's fun to use.
Nice. Dude, I love it, man. This is great. Well, Dimitri, anything else before we chat, we run? I really appreciate what you're doing, and I really, I'm just excited about posting on chain to having this opportunity. And it seems like one of the most amazing use cases of Bitcoin I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would just say, we're building the use cases. We want to build a compelling experience using Bitcoin uh, that's outside of the price. That's not a speculative use case. So we're actually building all these different ways and experimenting with all these ways of using Bitcoin, including posting on chain, including up value and rewarding creators, including raffles, including paying for AI. So just like come and check it out. It really doesn't. It really is just like you hit the post button, you write some stuff, just like Twitter, just like X, just like Facebook. It's not that complicated to start, and I think people will find that the community is very friendly. When you start posting, people upvalue your content usually. And again, it's like tiny amounts, so it doesn't cost much to send a positive signal to someone, but that kind of gets the ball rolling on the economy. And I think as we grow, we're gonna have more and more Bitcoin flowing through the system, and it's gonna be very cool.
Nice. All right, Dimitri, thank you very much, everyone. Get on Tree Chat, check it out, follow Dimitri, and we'll do it again sometime. All right. I appreciate you coming. See you at the top, everyone. Hit the ones and subscribe if you haven't already.
Awesome. Thanks, Gavin.